Okay, so ask me anything and then I'll go get them, and I think it will make total sense. Oh, come on, you guys. No, what? Anything? I'm being so dramatic. I had coffee. Yes.
So if it's spontaneous,
yes,
and you do great work,
yes,
then how do you recreate it?
Well, here's the thing.
Like, how do you bring it back to a callback because they want to see that? It was great.
Well, okay. I think this is a good question. I think at one level, you can't recreate everything exactly to the minutia because that would be denying the moment. At a very subtle level, however, though, our instrument, meaning cellularly, you do know how to recreate something. Again, I just think it's easier than we make it. So if you go in and you do a really great job and you're free and you're open and they're like, okay, just come back and do it that way, the same way, I don't think you have to freak out because at one level, your body does know how to do that. At another level, the minutia of it might slightly be different, but at the third level, they're not going to remember. This is a good question. See what I'm saying? Oh my God, you guys, casting directors see thousands of people. They will remember the gist of what you did. Do you think they're scrutinizing every tiny minute and beat of what you did? On this moment, he had permutations of this and this and this, and then on this second line, he did a double-double, whammy, backflip, double-double. No, they're not doing that. They're just like, oh, your essence is really, oh, that's right, and you made a strong choice, and I see that he's kind of arrogant and cocky, or whatever they say, right? And you go in, they're like, bring that back. You guys, it's not that hard. But then the actor is like, oh. Or then the actor starts to think, yeah, I gotta really and then you try to muscle it. This is good. This is a really good question. I've never really been answered that. Did that help?
Yes.
I think you gotta trust. You gotta trust. That's scary. You gotta trust. It's scary to trust in life, is it not? Forget about acting. How are you doing with trusting in life? It's scary. Horrible, somebody said? Yeah, it's scary to just give over in life, to be like, ah. It works out. Even if your car gets towed, it works out. Even if your car gets stolen, it works out. It doesn't work out sometimes in the minutia of it because we're so in it, we can't see the forest through the trees. But as you start to have time, plus experiences, aka mileage, you'll start to see, oh, that actually was connected to this, and this actually worked out, and in the big scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. That's a much healthier way of seeing your life. Okay, ask me anything else. What else? That's a good question, though. Yes?
Spontaneity and choices.
Yes. Ask me the question. I know where you're going, but I want you to phrase it as a question.
You're talking about spontaneity and letting things happen in a moment, but then we hear make choices, make good choices.
But
how do those two link?
But that is, spontaneity is the fullest expression of the strongest choice. That's beautiful. You guys, your spontaneous reaction to something in the moment. Look at it. That's a strong choice! That's a strong choice! It's not planned. Now, sometimes things are planned, and that's okay. And we still have to let the listening, if you have to hit your mark exactly like this and it's technical, you still have to trust that you can hit your mark and have an inner life that's alive based on what you're receiving in the moment. Sometimes acting will feel very technical. But I think the thing is, again, is you don't trust that your choices, based in the moment of how you want to do it, is interesting, or sexy, or dynamic, or beautiful, or messy, or human. So then you overthink it, and then you believe that you have to try to do something. See? You'll see when people work, or just like life, I think everybody in here is interesting. If you take the, what do you call it, like the cap off of yourself, and allow yourself to be fully expressed, you're all interesting. You all know how to act. It's not hard. It's just we overthink that. Is that right? Is it correct? Is it too much? Can I do that? What will they say? And then you take what's interesting and spontaneous about you, and you just start to put it in a box. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think these are good questions. Anything else? One more question? I love that. These are really great questions. Come on, I like questions. Because none of this is ever rehearsed. I mean, I don't say anything the same way ever, but those are two questions I've never had asked before. Zach, we're taping this, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Good. Anything? Come on, anything. Where do you get stuck in acting? What's your challenge? Why is it scary? How are you breaking through? What's holding you back? Come on. You guys, if you get clear with it and start to have a dialogue about it, then you start to break through the fear of it. You can't be in denial about it. This scares me. This is hard. This is what I'm up against. Why do I do that? Then you start to liberate yourself from it. Come on. Oh my God. You all are like kind of looking sideways, like hoping somebody else is going to ask a question. I mean, I'll go get them if we don't have any more questions.
Comprehension scares me.
What?
Feeling like comprehension. Feeling like I understand
Comprehension.
what the writers intended and the beats that are supposed to happen and the bigger thing that's going on that I'm supposed to clue in on, and it feels very technical, and it feels rigid, and I'm trying to break the script down and understand all these things and blah blah, and then you get there and you're like, okay, well I did all my homework, great, but kind of like you said, like now throw it all away and be free in a moment.
Okay, so how do we find a way of like, to me, I was just telling an actress about Jeff Garland, who plays, he's on the Goldbergs, and he's playing Keira Knightley's dad in the new movie The Laggies, which is supposed to be terrific.
So good.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah.
So he gets interviewed on NPR about like acting and what's his way in, blah blah blah. And he's basically, I can't remember, I tweeted it the other day, but it's so simple. He says, you know what? I just read the scene, and then I just decide how would I do that in those circumstances. Acting made simple. And then he goes on to say, and then after a take or whatever, I'm paraphrasing, you know, hopefully the director, Lynn Shelton is the director, right? If it's not working, she'll come and tell him. And he talks about just being there with Keira. So you guys, I think again, it comes down to it's simpler than you're trying to deconstruct something that already in its construction is not that complicated. It's really well said. I've never said it that way before. We're constructing this thing to be this gigantic thing. It's not. It's not that heady. So I think the last thing, and I'll go get them, is when you go into an audition, it's your choice to go in and mentally say to yourself, this is how I would interpret this role. This is how I would do it. This is how I want to do this. This is how I see the character. This is how I see myself playing this role. This is what I can bring to this. This is how I can tell story. Isn't that exciting? That's the power you wield. Now they may like it, they may not. But then you're doing your full work and it doesn't matter. See what I'm saying? Then it's maybe they like you but your essence doesn't match and they want a blonde. Or maybe they like it so much they're like, oh, I never thought it could be played that way. Let's bring her back. Or let's try it that way. See what I'm saying? But it sounds like you're already sort of off-putting yourself because you're already in your head about the construction of what you think they want. You guys, I don't think anybody knows what they want. That's the thing. We'll know what we want when we see it. I always use dating as an analogy. You all think you know what you want in a guy or a girl? Well, why are we all single then? You know what I mean? Because what we want in a guy or girl is always around us. So sometimes the thing that we're really seeking doesn't come in the package that we're expecting. And then you're like, oh, who's that? Yes, last question.
So then if you don't know who you are because we don't know who we want to date, then how do you bring the I to the work?
Say it again.
So if you don't really know who you are, you're trying to figure that out.
Okay.
Then how do you know how to bring the you to the, how do you know what that you is?
Well, this is a good question, and I think that's also why you are in a class that helps you figure out who you are very quickly. Very quickly. Like, you don't have like 5 years to figure it out. Like, hopefully, very quickly. And also, in the short term, figuring out who you are based on the kind of roles you're going to get cast as. Then the long-term work is just to explore everything, right? But you all are going to be typed out, so you got to figure out very quickly what's your type and how can you get work. Because if you're in denial about your type, you ain't ever going to work. You're never going to work as an actor. Each of you I'm looking at in here is a type. You all can work. But if you have an inherent discomfort in your type, whether that's the sexy person or the chubby person or the geeky best friend or the gay best friend or the ethnic whatever, you're not going to work. People who don't have judgments about their type get the work. So that's part of the work, is figuring out who you are and bringing that unapologetically to how you go in. See what I'm saying? Okay, let me go get them. And I love those questions. Thank you for asking them.